Hi, everyone. I'm Dana Ponsky, your guide to college, and welcome to Being Jewish in College's new video series, Kibbutz in 10 Minutes. Today, you're going to get 10 minutes of really valuable information from Sarah Leiter, the Assistant Director of Hillel at the University of New Mexico. Thank you so much for joining us, Sarah.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So to kick off, our first question is, can you tell us the name of the Jewish center or centers on campus?
Sure. Well, our main center, actually where I'm sitting right now, is Hillel at the University of New Mexico. And we have this physical house, which is amazing. I'm sitting in the sort of living room area right now. We have a dining room area over there and a little library and a beautiful backyard, actually, with views of the Sandia Mountains. Which, yeah, they turn pink at sunset. So little trivia for you, Sandia means watermelon in Spanish. So the Watermelon Mountains. And we have this whole garden with fruit trees. So this is our Jewish center, and welcome.
Perfect. So can you tell us a little bit about how many Jewish students there are on campus, and if there's possible to do kind of a breakdown of if secular, reform, conservative, Orthodox, Reconstructionist, humanist, anything, however a student might identify. Is there approximately a number that you have that you serve?
Well, I personally am not a math person, so I have absolutely no idea about numbers, but I'd say, let's say a couple hundred Jewish students on campus. In a given semester, we probably have about 50 regulars or so that come to Hillel. It tends to be more reform and secular, but of course we have people from all denominations and everyone is welcome. So it really just depends on the semester.
Okay. Are there kosher food options available to students on campus or nearby? And if so, what are they?
So not on campus, but the Hillel House, we do serve kosher Shabbat dinners. When school is in session, we'll have people come over to the Hillel House and home cook Shabbat dinners. There are a couple of kosher restaurants in Albuquerque, and vegan restaurants as well for people who are willing to eat vegan. And so, yeah, we have kosher style restaurant at the Jewish Community Center, which is a little farther away from campus, but is definitely accessible for people who want to go there.
Perfect. And you did mention Shabbat services, but do you offer weekly Shabbat services or gathering opportunities for students on a weekly basis?
We do. So during the pandemic, it's been a little funky, but when we're not during a pandemic, yes, we do reform style Shabbat services, and we are any student who wants to lead and wants to do something a little different. We always welcome that. And then following services, yes, we have a home cooked Shabbat meal for anyone who wants to join.
In terms of the university itself and its academic programs, are there any Jewish studies majors or minors, or are there opportunities for students to take Hebrew language courses on campus?
Not on campus. We do have a Jewish studies lecture series that we help to promote, and those are all great. We have a religious studies department, there's not really a Jewish studies department, but there are some opportunities to study Judaism on campus for sure.
So this is a little bit of a shift, but in terms of the environment that's on campus, can you talk a little bit about either any political or social justice climate, especially with topics that are important to Jewish students and families around BDS and anti-Semitism, anti-Israel or Zionist, anti-Zionist sentiments? Are there anything, and how does the university handle that?
Sure. So I've been here for about 5 years, and before I arrived, there was a little bit of a conflict between, BDS protesters and, more pro-Israel students. Since then, it's been pretty quiet. I mean, it's I would say on our campus, the bigger focus tends to be on I'd say Native American activism, because we are in New Mexico, which has a significant Native American population. So it's definitely a different cultural place to be, but it's a lot of fun, really interesting.
Perfect. So what challenges, if any, might a Jewish student who's interested in coming to the University of New Mexico face, both on or off campus, if there's any?
So the main challenge I'd say is that we have a small but mighty Jewish community. It's not, it's a smaller city, so by definition, there's going to be a smaller Jewish community. There are definitely, lots of different synagogues of every denomination for someone who's looking for a synagogue. And of course, there's Hillel. But yeah, I mean, just the biggest challenge is finding a large community. There is a community, it's just not a huge one.
Okay. And shifting to what would you say is the most popular or well-attended program that Hillel puts on each year, that you're most proud of?
Let's see, last year we did something called Night of Peace, which was an interfaith collaborative event with the UNM Arabic Club and also one of the Christian student groups. And so all three of us came together to raise money for a hospital in Yemen. And, we enjoyed a meal together and, shared different cultural presentations about Judaism, about Hebrew, about Arabic, about Islam, about all this stuff. And it was a lot of fun, because it was bringing together a bunch of different communities.
Awesome. Can you tell us what is one interesting piece of information about the University of New Mexico that you would love for people to know?
Ooh, let's see. That's a tough question. I mean, it's just in this beautiful area. I don't know if that counts as interesting, but there's tons for people who, enjoy the outdoors. There's tons of hiking opportunities nearby. It is a desert climate, so we are at a higher elevation. So once you turn 21, actually, you might need to, start a little bit more slowly if you're trying your first alcoholic beverage, because it does affect you more in the higher climate. So that's a fun fact.
Yep. Perfect. And finally, what do you love the most about helping to lead the Jewish community at Hillel at the University of New Mexico?
I love that all of our students are incredibly kind and welcoming, and I do have experience at several other schools, and I find that at UNM, the community tends to be a lot more open and welcoming, and willing to sort of be friends with anybody who walks in the door, which I think is awesome.
Great. Well, that ends my questions. So that was a perfect kibitz in 10 minutes. So thank you very much for your time, and I really appreciate it. And to everybody, there will be information available to learn more about the University of New Mexico. And thank you so much, Sarah. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.